Okay, this video is meant to show those of you who need a little help with the Google Docs toolbar. You may certainly fast forward through this as needed. So before you start your assignment, you can certainly watch this, and I'm just going to go through the most important formatting buttons along the top here. This button, of course, right here is the print button. So when it's time to print, that's what you'll click. These two arrows right here, very, very important. They're like brothers. We've got undo and redo. Undo and redo. These are really helpful when you do something to your screen and you have absolutely no idea what you did. Sometimes you'll hit a combination of buttons or you'll click on something and things will look all wonky and you just want to get it back to where it was. You can hit this undo button. The nice thing about Google Docs is you can hit the undo button as many times as needed. It's not like KidPix when you were little where you got one chance to hit it. And the redo button is nice because if you accidentally undo too much, you can just redo it and it'll come right back. Here's where you can change your font. Font is the word we use for the way your letters look on the screen. Now notice if I change my font to Pacifico, my font doesn't change. In order to change it, I always need to tell the computer what I want to change. So anything I have highlighted will now be Pacifico. Now I'm going to change it back because that one to me is very hard to read. Here's where you can change the size of your font. And remember, the bigger the number, the bigger your font. So I'm going to change it to 14. I think that's a little bit easier to read. The B is for bold. A lot of times you'll see bold writing in your textbooks for vocabulary words. The slanted I is for italics. Anytime on the computer you need to underline something, you can use italics. So for instance, let's say I wanted to tell you my favorite book to read in 4th and 5th grade. So here's the title of a book, Tina Go Go. Titles of books are underlined, but on the computer you would italicize it. Italicize is the same thing as underline. Use underline. This is your text color. So let's say I wanted to make this vocabulary word red. I can highlight it and change that to red. These buttons are very important, and these are the buttons that teachers have told me they see their kids not using when you should be. This is left align. You'll notice everything right now is aligned along the left-hand side of my page. Okay. This is centered. This is right align. Your title should always be centered on your page. So to do that, don't hit the space bar a bunch of times. That is the wrong way to do it, because your title won't necessarily really be centered. And there will be a time when you have a teacher who pulls out the ruler and makes sure it is perfect. The correct way to center a title is to highlight it and click on that center align. Your name, your teacher's name, and your date are usually supposed to be in the right-hand corner. Again, don't hit the space bar a bunch of times. Just come up here and that will align it to the right exactly the way it's supposed to be. This button right here, very important. This is your line spacing. Google Docs defaults to 1.15. Let me show you what single looks like. You see how the words just kind of squished closer together? Usually when you turn something in for your teacher, they'd like it to be double spaced. Makes it a little easier for us to read, and it also gives us room to make comments on your paper. And as a student, you'll notice it makes your paper look longer too. Finally, the last thing that you'll have to do is you'll need to use this bullet button. Bullets are used when you want to make a list. So let's say I wanted to make a list of my favorite foods. I can click on the bullet and I would put, oops, no E. And that's how I would put what are called bullets onto my paper. And again, those are used when you are making a list of something. Those are the different things I wanted to show you. The last thing I want to show you though, if you come up here to File, two things I want to show you here. This is how you make a copy. So when you go to do your assignment, you'll need to make a copy of the Google Doc. You'll click on that, and in here, this is where I want you to put your first and last name, let's say your first and last name and Google Doc. So John Smith Markman, or John Smith One-Row Lemke, and if you just want to put WL, that's fine. I'm going to hit cancel here. The other thing that's nice to know about Google Docs is you can always come in here and see your revision history. So if I wanted to go back, today's November 3rd, but if I wanted to go back to my document on November 2nd at 1:51 p.m., I can do that. I can click on Restore this revision, and it was empty at that point in time. So come in here, I'm going to click 2:35 p.m., and there's what it looks like. Okay, so you can always come back and see your revision history and really figure out what it needs to look like. So I'm going to move it back to here. There. All right. What I'd like you to do is go into Schoology. You may work on this document on the computer or on the iPad. There are two different assignments there. You may choose which one you would like to do first. I'll be walking around and be helping you as needed.